guys know the vibes. Welcome back to
Shit.
Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. We are talking to you on a Wednesday evening, and we stayed up late just so we could watch Victor Wembanyama make his debut, and just so we could watch 20 brothers call a lot of fouls on him, and they not allowing him to play the amount of minutes that I personally would have liked. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll talk about the Lakers and Nuggets opening their seasons against each other and LeBron's minutes limit. We'll talk about James Harden too, Danny. But of course, let's start with something a little bit fun, something that's going viral recently.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a married man now with a kid. Shout out to Win. So you don't have it going on a first date in a minute, but your boy on the other side of the microphone is single, and there's a debate going on about first dates. I know you've seen it, and if you guys haven't seen it or heard about it, I'll try and update you now. Essentially, a woman has gone viral. She went on a first date, and the guy was attempting to take her to Cheesecake Factory. He picked her up, and she wouldn't get out the car. Instead, she decided to pull out a camera and videotape the whole moment, and essentially put a lot of try to embarrass this man for taking her to Cheesecake Factory. Now, there's some who are even saying he had a reservation for a nicer restaurant, but she was an hour late getting dressed. So he scrambled and came up with Cheesecake Factory as a substitution, and she wouldn't get out the car. Danny, as a man who's gone on a lot of first dates recently, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I'll let you go first since you're out the game, my friend.
I'm sure you do. All of us men have lots of thoughts. I said I'm not a single man. But, in today's society, there's a lot of men, women, banter of who does what, who doesn't do what, who's right or wrong. And this is, of course, stirring the pot of getting the men going. List, obviously,
I'm fired up, Daddy. I'm fired up about this one.
I said we're old school, we're older. This list was obviously made up by a group of women under 25, because a lot of the restaurants on that list are some good old school restaurants. A lot of us grew up on those restaurants. We ate at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and to us, lucky for me, my wife, she's not entitled or uppity. It doesn't really matter the place, it's the person, so. It's just crazy to see where we've come in today's society, just a sense of entitlement, and how they're disrespecting some good restaurants. Cheesecake Factory is a great restaurant. And more importantly, it's about the company you keep, the company you're going on. If you really like the person, it doesn't matter where you're going. It shouldn't be a standard of where the date starts, or where it ends. You can meet anywhere. You can talk to somebody anywhere. And it can, any great relationship can stem from something small. And, obviously can stem from some great places too. But first date, I don't know what you're thinking is going to happen. You got to earn some extravagant stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like women, they hold the key to certain things. Like, all right, in order for us to get their attention or earn some type of things from them, there's a process. Same with men. We're not going to just go all out and give you the best date ever. Some guys may do that, and those may be the guys that ruin it for everybody.
Those are the ones who are messing up the game. Those are the ones who are messing up the game.
But I can't blame them. Maybe so, but I don't blame. It's not them.
They need blame too.
Even with that, there should never be a sense of entitlement that every day, mind you, y'all are not. I said I'm not judging people, but you are not. Most of y'all are not like that to get that type of treatment. You're not bad enough to get the first all-out show. To, you know what I'm saying, of us trying to impress you. Yeah, we should try to impress you, but mind you, guys live in different budgets, different lives. We give what we feel that you deserve, and a lot of times there's not disrespect to you. Cheesecake Factory is no disrespect. These are no restaurants to sleep on. So I can't imagine. I tell this every day to the young guys in my locker room. I feel for you guys in today's society trying to date people, because it's just a different world. And I feel for you, Harrison, at the age of 36, so your age, trying to deal with these youngins out here going on these first dates of entitlement. They want to, see fireworks and long walk on the beach and take you on vacation on the first. It's crazy, the things that they're expecting. So I'm glad that I'm not in it anymore, but don't get yourself too worked up about it. Don't get yourself too worked about it. Just find your realm. You can't control everybody's minds and emotions. You can only control yours. You control what you can control. You adjust the sails, and you work with who you need to work with.
Oh, I found my realm. I found my realm. The one thing was crazy on this list too, Danny. Some of them made sense. Like family functions was on this list. All right,
Some are
come on, man. Yeah,
inappropriate, but it doesn't mean
well,
you
one was
can't.
a
Somebody
one
really
so
likes you,
some
they might want to bring you there, but it may be too
wait,
soon.
not a
So it
first date.
depends
Not
on.
a first date. Yeah, not a first date. No.
Listen, I know
I
some
I
people bring some people to some intimate settings on a first date. Some people may like that. They may think, oh, this person really likes me. I think it's too soon, but to each his own. Some people get married in 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen that happen.
yeah.
So it's not for me to judge.
Some people hated on the even the idea of a coffee date being a first date. I'm like, all right, yo, this is going too far. Social
Now, I
media,
understand what they're saying, like it shouldn't be considered a date, but any meetup is a date, and you should be able to
exactly.
meet up anywhere. It doesn't matter. Now, I think meeting the families too soon, early on, I think for first date is a bit much. Anything else where it's you one-on-one, where it's a private space and you can talk quietly and get to know each other and actually have an interview, because that's what the first date is, peacefully. It doesn't matter what type of food they're serving.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. Hey, listen, Danny, my method, and any guys listening to this pod who happen to be single, here's my method. First date is happy hour. Because if I can't be happy with you during happy hour, how the hell am I going to be happy doing a $200 dinner or more later in the night when I'm passing up on watching NBA basketball? Happy hour from like 5 to 7. It's a good slot. You could meet somebody, be like, yo, I got to go. Or you could meet somebody and say, hey, this has been so much fun. I'm willing to pass on whatever I want to do later in the evening. And we can go and have real dinner. We can go do something else. But happy hour is how you get it started. Because again, if you can't be happy spending discounted dollars on drinks and food, then how the hell are you going to be happy with a $300 dinner? That's
100%.
my
And
advice.
shout out to Amjad. First date should be a low commitment. Mind you, this reminds me of you when I didn't even think about. I do think about it, but not as much when you thought about how much a dinner costs between two people at a really nice restaurant. You are
Exactly.
committing this to a person that you may not get anything in return from, and that's expecting you to take them on this experience. And they might just be using you for a good meal.
For the
I
For
think
the
the date
Instagram
for a
story. No,
man,
you ain't catching. You
just
ain't
like they
catching me
test
with
you,
that.
you should be testing them. So the first date should be a test. You should be able to spend time with them, not at a cheap date, but not expensive one, but a medium to cheap date, and see how well they handle it. You know what I'm saying? It should be on the
Yeah.
man. If he's spending the money and he's taking care of your food, it shouldn't have a dollar amount or expectation or entitlement, because we don't know if you're using me or using that man for the food or not, and he has to find that out with taking you on a dinner date.
I had a discussion with the coworker today too. A woman. She also said the man needs to come to her neck of the woods. Like, I live in New York City, Manhattan, downtown. Let's say the woman lives in Brooklyn. I also got to go to Brooklyn. Oh, and I got to pay. Oh, why we can't be halfway? It's a whole thing. We could have a whole podcast episode about that, but maybe we'll have an extended clip and we'll try to get more of these off the court topics for you guys. But let's get to the hoops, because
get
big
some
things
basketball,
happened.
man.
Yeah, big things happened, particularly with your team yet again, because you're always on the team filled with some type of drama. The latest reporting from Shams Charania and Adrian Wojnarowski are concluding, or at least informing us, that James Harden did show up today to potentially join your team as you guys travel to Milwaukee. And as I could see from your background, you are in Milwaukee now. I think you could probably confirm with me that James is not with y'all.
I don't know if he's here right now. He was not with us on the plane.
Yes,
but he was with us. You say big news. It's not big news to us. I guess big news to the world outside of us. But James is usually at practice. He hasn't been the last 5 or 6 practices. We had a couple days off. But he's usually there working on himself, working on his body, getting his workouts in. So we hadn't seen him in a couple of days. So we saw him today at practice. And it is the day before the game. I heard he had a personal matter. So I think that's why he took a couple of days. I don't know what it was. Could have been something different. Could be something we don't know. I don't pry. I don't ask. That's way above my pay grade. I show up to do my job. I show up to work. If he's there, great. I might get some more open looks. If he's not, I'm going to have to figure it out, play some more defense, do a little more cuts baseline and get some more open looks. Either way, I think we'll be a good team. We'll be a great team with them. But yes, he was at practice today, and obviously it's a day before the game. So I think Nick was like, it's going to be hard to play. And I think front office as well. made the decision of it's going to be hard to throw him in at 1 day of practice after taking some days off. We want to give him a couple more days of practice before we integrate him with the group. So I think he stayed back and worked out. I don't know if he took a later flight or a different flight at a different time to get here to Milwaukee and maybe at the game support us. I don't know, but I know he was not on the plane with us. That's what I do know.
I believe it was Adrian Wojnarowski also said on NBA Countdown on Wednesday night that the Clippers are apparently backing out of any potential trades with the Philadelphia 76ers as it pertains to James Harden. I guess with the season started, it's kind of a tumultuous thing to kind of be going through. Let me ask you this, though, Danny. I would assume that you feel as if you'll be playing with James in the short term at the very least. There's a groundswell of people who believe that you and your teammates should be disappointed in James Harden, should be frustrated with James Harden, should be mad at him because of the inconsistencies in his availability. What would you say to those people?
I was about to ask why would we be disappointed? I mean, it's still early in the season. I do think that he will be with us. Yes. The inconsistency, disappointed in him. I mean, so we understand the business side of it as well. We understand both sides. And also a lot of us have been through worse situations, so the situation in the past with Ben was a little bit more dramatic.
Oh yeah.
So James has been with us most of the time. So with the exception of the last week or so, he's been at practice. He's been working out. He was there today. And he's usually professional. He's not a distraction. He's not causing any disruption. There is a little bit of lingering confusion, but we know where he stands and front office stands. We don't talk to front office. We talk to him a little bit, but we don't pry. We don't get in between it. We show up and do our jobs above our pay grade. So his inconsistency for the last week or so of not showing up is not going to cause us to be upset with him, And it's only been a couple of days out of the week, and he came today, and I think he's showing that he wants to play. He'll be with us in the near future. And I don't think any of us are upset or disappointed in him. We just want the situation to be resolved sooner than later, and I think it will be.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think in my opinion, I think he eventually, he will suit up with you guys, and you guys play ball for a living. And once you start playing ball for real, I think all of the noise.
We talked about this today, man. Also, as a competitor, as a hooper, it's hard, regardless of what your situation is, to watch as the league is opening up all those other games going on and not want to be a part of it. There's no way you watching, Lakers, Denver, Spurs, Dallas tonight and be like, damn, it looks fun out there. I can't wait to get back out there.
You can hoop.
It's too much fun going on out there. I can't miss out on it. I think, part of that is gonna mess with him a little bit too. Like there's no way you sit at home and knowing that you're great at it and love to play this game in front of thousands of people and just sit out. Nah, he's a competitor, he's a hooper. And just part of him is going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet, put my pride aside, because ultimately I want to hoop. And that's just that's part of the battles we're fighting as humans and as professionals and with him. So I can see him putting that aside. I'm like, I just want to hoop, man, because there's just too much fun going on out there.
Yeah, and honestly too, again, I personally believe that the reported trade offer of 2 first-round picks and Terrence Mann, that at least that's reported is what the 76ers would want in a trade for James Harden. If I'm the front office, if I'm Daryl Morey, I'm not running to the trade table to hit accept. I'm sorry.
I agree.
This is still
he's a great player.
Harden.
It's not enough. And there's also reports coming out, crazy reports. The Knicks are trying to right 2 days before the season starts for Joel. It's a lot of crazy talks. We just ignore it, man. Keep it moving. When things happen, they'll happen. We'll know about it. But all the talks, we don't believe. All the things we hear, we don't believe. But I know one thing's for sure. Daryl is not taking a small package for James Harden. I know that.
Yeah, no, there's no way that he should. All right, let's wrap up this first segment here before we get to the pick and roll. Quick thoughts on Victor Wembanyama, his first debut. The Spurs held a pretty good lead for portions of that game against the Mavericks, but ended up losing in the end. I think Wembanyama finished with over 15 points there. He had 9 points in that fourth quarter, but he really sat a lot of this game out thanks to getting in foul trouble. I know some people on Twitter are not happy with Tony Brothers because people stayed up late to watch Wemby and they really didn't get to see him. From what you saw, give me one good thing, one bad thing from the Victor Wembanyama experience, game number 1.
Yeah, don't get me started with Tony. We have a long-lasting relationship. It's very much hate-love relationship, very up and down. Respect him. Said I don't want to get in referees. It's part of the game. It's part of growing pains as a young player and maturing and understanding how they're called in the game. But you saw a lot of great with him, a lot of good. And you can just see how much his energy can turn the crowd, can turn the momentum of a game. Offensively, defensively, how he can affect shots and close out and get to guys, get to shooters from being able to block a shot in the paint and getting out to Tim Hardaway. And then obviously be able to finish around the rim, get a shot up over anybody. The key is to try not to get a shot up. But the bad would just be the immaturity and learning, which is natural. It's supposed to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's what you expect. But a lot of great with the group people around him as well. They had a couple turnovers down the stretch. My boy Jetty got some good time, some good ticks, a good momentum swinger, knocked down threes and a fast break layup. But him coming in the game and getting the crowd into it really changed a lot of the energy in the building. So it's a lot of great. Mind you, he only played a limited amount of minutes.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens with him next time around. Hopefully he stays out of foul trouble so we can see a little bit more. One thing I liked from him, Danny, at his size, to be as comfortable with off the dribble shooting.
Off the little three ball?
Off the dribble.
Took it very confident. Very confident. I think at that point, he's just going in with nothing to lose. We're down. We're trying to, he's not thinking about it. Trying to get my team back into it, and he's just playing loose, He already got all the bad out the way. He got all the fouls and was thinking about on the bench, and he knows the cameras are watching him. He's like, damn, kind of let my team down. I got to find a way to bring him back. And he just went out and played loose, man. And that's when you play best basketball. He showed some pretty good basketball in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to seeing how it all trickles out for the San Antonio Spurs. Best believe we'll be keeping track of Victor Wembanyama and company this season on Inside the Green Room. We'll also keep track of changes in the All-Star game and also potentially some drama after only one game in Chicago. We discussed that next. Oh, and LeBron too. We'll be back with Inside the Green Room right after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Green Room.
Sure.
Green, Harrison Sanford, you know the vibes. And this part of the show, we did it last week. We'll do it this week, and we'll do it for the entirety of the season. Let's run the pick and roll. And we're going to start with a game that I was at tonight, Danny. The New York Knicks had their season debut against the Boston Celtics, and it was also the debut of Kristaps Porzingis in a Boston Celtics uniform. At one point, Danny, the Garden was rocking. It was quite the environment.
I'm sure.
The crowd was chanting.
It's always going to be rocking all year and last year. You guys have a pretty good team. Your beloved Knickerbockers are decent, man, the last couple of years. You're pretty good. Sorry you guys took the L today, though.
Yeah, I hope our editors mute this, but there was a large and loud Porzingis chant that came out during the fourth quarter. It was pretty
wow.
It was going down in the arena tonight.
I heard him talking about him being overrated. I don't know if I saw the F-bomb one.
They were cheering.
And then he hit that three ball and
at
the end,
and then he
did
did
a dagger. Yeah, he started.
And then he did his thing for sure. Now, 30 points is the most in the Celtics debut in the history of that storied franchise, which leads me to my first question, Danny. If you were debuting for a team outside of your rookie year, if you were debuting for a new team, would you rather make your debut on the road or at home?
Oh, good question. I think it depends on what team I'm with. But for me, I think it's less pressure on the road. You're just playing more free. You have a chip on your shoulder. As a youngin', when you're older, I won't say when you're older, but most of the time when you're the home team, you're expected to win. You have to win. You're thinking about it more. Your family's there. When you're on the road, it's just you, the crew, the team, and you're just going out balling, trying to prove, especially when you're the underdog. It also depends on who you're facing. I think it's a lot easier going into the matchup that way. So I would prefer to be on the road if I'm a younger guy with a new team.
Yeah, I could understand that. And I would imagine for Kristaps Porzingis, it was probably the energy that you needed to make your debut with the Celtics.
For sure, especially against the old team.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, the way those Celtics are going to shoot the three this year, they're going to blow out some teams, but they're also going to let some teams in the game. They came out to a pretty large lead against the New York Knicks, but again, how much they love to shoot the three, it did allow the Knicks to come back. But I think they're going to be dangerous, man. The way Drew Holiday guarded not just Jalen Brunson, but also guarded Julius Randle tonight. Celtics definitely got something cooking over there.
For sure. That's just one guy, though. I'm more impressed with Porzingis getting back to the rim protecting Porzingis he was somewhat in New York. I think that's a difference because Drew can do but so much by himself. Obviously, Derek White's a great defender as well, but you need somebody at the rim. Al Horford is still a great player. Not was he used to be at the rim and be able to run the floor. Still could shoot from the perimeter three, but you need somebody else outside of Al to help protect the rim and rebound. And I think Porzingis did a pretty good job of that tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick before we go to our next pick and roll topic, your favorite debut, your favorite personal debut.
That's an easy one. I think everybody knows that. The Lakers debut. We were on the road, but we're in LA playing the Clippers. Yeah, playing the Clippers. And I think that one was the best one of my career, and it might have been one of the best as a Laker.
That was the best Lakers debut by point. That by point scored, it was the best Lakers debut of all time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an easy one to pick. So,
do you remember? Can you give me one memory from that game?
Yeah, I remember getting hot. I mean, hitting some shots. I remember the first one was cash, the second one was an air ball, and then from there I didn't miss many. Got a couple in transition. It took a while to heat up. I think I didn't start getting really hot till like the third quarter. I think I hit like too early, and then that second half is when I started, getting, a couple more in rhythm. But it was a lot of fun. Rivalry team, Clippers in LA. I'm gonna say coming out party. I wouldn't say that. Pause. But welcome to the city type party. So yeah, it was fun, man.
I will say that was supposed to be the beginning of something great between the Lakers and Clippers in terms of a rivalry. We still haven't gotten it yet, but
that playoff series would have been fun, man. We didn't get the one we were looking for. I think we all wanted it. We all wanted that one.
A damn shame. Speaking of the Lakers, they opened their season against the Denver Nuggets, lost that game. And LeBron James, he was one of the few players that had a positive in the plus minus. He finished with 21 points, but only played in 29 minutes. And Darvin Ham said after the game that this is pretty much where he sees LeBron, at least in the short term, in terms of his minutes limit. So I'll ask you, even though you're not a head coach, I'll ask you, would you rather have LeBron play his normal minutes and take off games and take half rest games, or play him in his limited minutes and just hope you win those games?
That's a loaded question. It's a tough one because I don't think in either one of them he's going to play all the games. I think regardless of the minutes, he's still going to miss games and take games off. I think it's just smarter to limit his minutes, especially at this age. I think he should have been on minute restriction even before this year. When you get to a certain age, you get so many miles in your body, you're just more susceptible to injury happening when you're playing that many minutes. Obviously, he's a freak of nature. He takes care of his body very well. But to play 35 plus minutes a game over 30, 38, over 35 is extensive. And, bigger picture, this is game one. You need him for game, especially you don't know where you're going to be at game 70, 65. You may be in a hole like last year. They were in a hole. They luckily got out of that hole, even with him being hurt for part of that time or that duration with the foot injury. And he came back sooner than he was supposed to. But you don't want to be in that predicament again. If you are in that predicament, you're going to need him. You need him fresh. You need him healthy to get you to the playoffs. And also, you just want a healthy LeBron. You want a healthy LeBron for the whole season and for the playoffs, more importantly. And the only way to keep that, and it's crazy to say it, minute limited to 30 minutes, because that's still a lot of damn minutes. Not really a big limit, but you want to keep him fresh. You got to keep him under 35 minutes. You got to keep him under 32 is good. So I think 28 minutes is about right, 28 to 30, if you want to keep him fresh and playing for most of the games. And then, playoffs, obviously it's playoffs. Anything goes. But if you want to keep him healthy and keep his body strong and stable at 39 years old, I think he's turning 40 or is he turning 39?
He's turning 39.
In December, he's turning 39? He's damn near 40, man. It's a lot. It's not easy to do. So keep him fresh and keep his minutes limited to under 30.
Yep. LeBron at this current age, 38. So we'll be turning 39 this December. So shout out to him. And yeah, the Lakers got to figure it out.
21 seasons, 39 is crazy.
Yeah, which means there's going to need players going to need to step up. That's for sure. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and obviously Anthony Davis going to score.
They have the talent. They sign those guys. They're making the money for a reason. They can make things shake.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last topic here before we go to break. Grizzlies opened the season with a loss at home to the New Orleans Pelicans. Now the Grizzlies are in a world of I have a world of concern now for the Memphis Grizzlies, and it's not because Ja Morant. I thought they could survive the first 25 games without him, but Steven Adams out for the season. And in this
Brandon
game,
Clark.
And Brandon Clark too. So Steven Adams not there, Brandon Clark not there. A lot of pressure on Jaren Jackson Jr. in that front court, and obviously you and I have talked about Jaren Jackson having issues staying out of foul trouble. In this game tonight, Zion Williamson had a number of rack attacks, finishing with 23 points. My question to you, Danny, who has the better quote unquote comeback season? Zion Williamson, who obviously dealt with a whole number of issues on and off the court, or Ja Morant?
I'm going to go with Zion. I think the expectations are lower for him than they are Ja right now. If he stays healthy, he can only go up. People always expect him to be hurt. They expect New Orleans not to make the playoffs. But with him on the floor, he's a difference maker, and he can bring that team to the playoffs. Mind you, said I'm very concerned for Memphis with the loss of Steven Adams, because they already had Brandon Clark out, and Ja's going to be out for the next 20 so games. You're missing $50 million in the lineup. That's a lot of money to be missing in the lineup. So Steven Adams making over 10, Brandon Clark making over 10, Ja making close to 30, if not over. That's $50 million you're missing in the lineup. It's hard to win games like that with guys missing, two guys missing the whole season, another guy missing 25 games of the season. So you're going to, you might see yourself in a hole. But it's a big year for those young guys to step up. I'm really looking forward to seeing David Roddy, Zaire Williams, Jake LaRavia, filling that void, that role.
Santi Aldama.
Santi's going to be good. He's going to be big for the bigs. But the wing position where Dylan is gone, and it's now with Steven Adams gone. So Santi and those wings are going to be a key into them, keeping them at 500 or above float, or keeping them above water until at least Ja comes back.
Yeah, we'll keep track of all that. That's going to be quite interesting how things develop over there. When we come back on Inside the Green Room, we'll check in with the Windy City. I can't believe what I read about the Chicago Bulls after their season opening loss at home to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we'll chime in on the East-West new alignment of the All-Star game. Be right back. All right, we're coming to the end of the show. And just a reminder for you guys, you can either catch new episodes of Inside the Green Room on either Wednesday or Thursday on all your podcast apps and YouTube. And make sure you follow us on Instagram as well at Inside Green Room. We're also on TikTok as well. We still have our Twitter account at Green Room Inside. Before we go home, all right, Danny, let me talk about this thing that I saw in the Chicago locker room. So tonight, they took a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Billy Donovan said this to the media after the game. When he walked into the Bulls locker room on Wednesday night, players were already in heated conversations. He asked if they wanted him to leave to handle the conflict. Players said yes, so he did. Donovan emphasized that embracing conflict is key to this year's roster. Also emphasized that this wasn't a huge blow up, that they weren't screaming at each other, and the players somewhat echoed that in the postgame. But frustration was clear. This is according to a report from Julia Poe. Zach LaVine criticized the second half response, saying, "I don't think we played with enough heart." Now, Danny, it's game number one. What in the world is going on in Chicago to the point where there has to be heated conversations after a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, to the point where Zach LaVine said, "We didn't play with any heart"? Like that's like game 50-ish type of talk, game 60-ish kind of talk. This is game number one. Mind you, this was game number one at home, a home opener. What's going on in Chicago, bro?
Man, Billy Donovan, old school guy, love him. New Yorker, Long Island guy. I think he is
St.
correct when
Dom's.
he
St. Dominic's, right?
very correct on how he handled it and what is key, not just for this roster, for any roster. You know, especially when it's a roster of guys that you've had previous years. Most of those guys have been together the year before. This is obviously something brewing. This is something that has been brewing for some years or from last year. A lot of times you just got to let it hash out. You know, Pat Bev was a guy, new guy in Philly, and I'm a new guy here, kind of, sort of, but I already know the team that was here, certain things that they discuss, certain ways they just debate. You got to let them hash it out. We can't just jump in and try to, figure out, let them do what they're supposed to do. And I think and it could be healthy. It's healthy banter, healthy conversation. And it may seem like it's arguments, but I don't know what the enough heart situation is with Zach, but I think a lot of it leads to a confusing offseason. They don't know if they're making moves. They don't know if they're being traded, who's being traded. There are talks of this, talks of that. They don't know where they stand. A lot of that can build tension between stars, between role players. And then that tension can lead to stuff that was brewing last year. And then, of course, to questioning other people's competitive play. So I think that's pretty much what it was. I didn't watch the game. I didn't get a chance to see it. I can't question their heart, so I don't know. But, they do have some vets over there. They have some guys that have been doing it for some years. Can't take it for granted. Every game, any game could be your last. And I think Zach is probably trying to point that out to some guys. We came in like it was last year and we're just going to beat everybody because we have the same group together. And we just thought we were going to win because we're at home. That could have been the message he was trying to portray. And maybe he said it differently. But I don't know. I said I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know how Zach meant it. But, when you're questioning certain things, I can only think that it's something that's brewing from the confusion of the summertime and from last year's performance at the end of the year where they were disappointed at how things ended.
Yeah, I do not envy Chicago Bulls fans right now because it feels like they're in a state of purgatory. DeMar DeRozan will be a free agent after this season, so you already know what that means in terms of trade rumors. Zach LaVine's name has been in trade rumors. You have a guy like Patrick Williams, who also is going into potential restricted free agency, so he's going to want to perform at a certain type of level. And then you have that glut at the point guard position, which also includes Lonzo Ball, who isn't playing, but wants to come back. And obviously they were at a high level when he was healthy. So it's a lot of confusing things. I do not envy their front office, and I do not envy a Chicago Bull fan. I don't know how they could necessarily move forward with this roster. There's a lot of questions for a team that hasn't had a lot of success in the recent years. All right, before we get out of here, Adam Silver, I think it was announced on Wednesday that the All-Star game, which is in Indianapolis this year, said that the game will go back to the East versus West. And Danny, I saw the news, and frankly, I didn't care because I don't think going to East to West is going to do anything to change the competitive level of the game. I don't think any All-Star says, I'm going to ball out harder because I'm playing for the East. Or I'm going to make sure I die for this loose ball because I'm playing for the West. I think the only solution to ensure that these players play at a competitive level are actually have two. Number one, make it USA versus the world. There are more than enough international players now where they would give USA a good run for their money if all compiled together. Imagine a team of Jokic, Giannis, and Luka, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you could keep and maybe Joel Embiid, maybe if Pascal Siakam is an all-star, you could put together a real dope roster of world players going against Team USA. And I think that would make for a fascinating all-star game. And I also think what you could do as well, Danny, and because 3-on-3 basketball is now, because it's an Olympic sport, I think you just say, hey, first half of the game is 5-on-5. Second half of the game, we're rotating 3-on-3s. And then by the end of the game, it's 1-on-1s, and you keep it rotating. I think that would make it fun. I think it would make it competitive. And I also think guys wouldn't be worried about potential injuries because it's still in an exhibition type of format, and you don't have to go all out. You don't have to be on the court for a very long period of time. So either you give me USA versus the world, or what I would really like, 5-on-5 first half, 3-on-3 third quarter, 1-on-1 fourth quarter. Oh, that would be the dream. I doubt it happens because you know what, Danny? Your
it won't
counterparts
happen.
in the league don't want the smoke. They don't want to
Nah.
play one-on-one on national TV.
No,
They ain't
they
gonna
do.
do
They
it.
don't mind it. A lot of guys like to play one-on-one, but I think you
Not on
integrate it
national
differently.
TV.
I like the
Not on
5-on-5.
national TV.
I like the world versus USA. I'm all for that. I still don't think it changes much of guys' competitive nature. They're still gonna go out there and not want to get hurt. The only way to change that is different types of incentives, figure out, you get incentives for amount of points, rebounds, this, that, you know what I'm saying? Minutes played, that type of deal. I do like integrating, like, how I think in the G League or other leagues, they integrate, like, when there's a foul, it's like a 5-on-4 situation, where the guy runs this, the other guy trailing the play, running the play, you get a free play or something like that when it's like 5-on-3. I think there's a way you can integrate that, but also I think there's a way you can integrate one-on-one when it happens to be like a foul or like a certain situation where you can integrate a one-on-one. It's like, all right, if there's a jump ball situation, I don't know. You find a way to integrate the one-on-one in terms of the game instead of by quarter. Start up with 5-on-5. I don't know about the 3-on-3. You could do 3-on-3 when it's like, I don't know, a tie game in the first quarter or, something like that, where there's some type of situation where it's like, all right, we got to figure out how to do this. We're gonna have one-on-one for this game. We're gonna have one-on-one for this.
It's a 3-point margin at the end of the first quarter. Y'all play 3-on-3 for 3 minutes. I don't know. Figure it out.
How like in China, exactly. China has switches are worth 8 points or something. You know what I'm saying? Like certain shit. You're not saying you do that, but you can this situation, this resolves a 3-on-3. This deserves a one-on-one. This needs to be resolved by having this type of play. Or you said integrating that 3-on-2 full court drill press type situation will make it fun. Guys like that type when it's like, all right, we got 5-on-3 and then 2 guys trailing, running the play, trying to play defense. I think that'll make it more exciting and you'll get some actual live play and some guys dunking the ball and having fun without getting injured.
Yeah. So one way or another, we got to fix it because what I watched last year was a travesty.
Yeah.
And I'm still mad I watched it. I could have been somewhere on an island somewhere chilling. Said my ass was on the couch.
But the only way
wasting time
is incentives with individual stuff because even the world versus USA, guys are still going to dog it till the fourth quarter, till it's time to, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, for sure.
But
one way or another, we'll figure it out, and we'll slip a little letter under Adam Silver's door, his office, and we'll make sure our voices are heard. Somebody's got to get this thing right. Rest assured. All right, Danny, looking forward to watching you play tomorrow as you make your debut against the Milwaukee Bucks. Best believe we'll be recapping that and your
need all the luck I can get. Wish me luck.
And your trip to Toronto as well, which happens this weekend. I'm kind of sad I won't be there. To anybody who's listening to the pod in Toronto, miss y'all. I should have made the trip, but I won't be able to make it. I'll be doing some festivities here in New York City. The weather is supposed to be great. I got my Halloween outfit all set, Danny. It should be a fun weekend.
For sure.
Looking
forward to that as well. No, I'd rather just see it. I want to see. I'm not the person like to tell me. I want to see.
Opinion on it?
That's so it's different. If you ask my opinion, now if you just tell me what you're gonna be, it's like I'd rather just show up and see because it's funnier that way. It's more of a surprise.
You ain't gonna see me. You're gonna be in Toronto.
Well, you're about to ask the whole world and tell the whole world what you're about to be before they
see
see it.
It's just me and you. I'm just talking on TV like it's just me and you.
It's so much better when I know the song, but
I'm just talking on TV like it's you and me.
Yeah, I know the song.
What song is that?
I'm trying to think. It's not Ye. Is it Kanye?
Yeah, it's Kanye. Yeah,
it's Kanye. Wait till I get my money right.
Yes.
Wait till I get my money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will talk about it off air, but we don't need the world. It's funnier. It's better when you surprise the world with what you're gonna be instead of telling them about it or asking them about it.
We'll save the pictures for next week. Hope you guys have a fun weekend and enjoy your first weekend of NBA basketball. We'll be back next week with more Inside the Green Room.